Good morning. I'm here today in the city of Houston, along with leaders from the greater Houston area, Harris County, and from all over the state of Texas, to mark the effective date where the Texas law, the Texas Women's Privacy Act, goes into effect. This is a statewide piece of legislation that had bipartisan support and has been necessary because for years, women and young ladies have had men and boys going into their bathrooms, showers, and locker rooms. And government leaders have been hiding it. They've been misleading you as a parent and the public. And they've been daring you to act as if it's not a problem. And really, they've been doing things that have been intimidating women, young ladies, and their parents into silence. But today, we make it very clear that you don't mess with Texas women and girls in their private spaces in the great state of Texas. The Texas Women's Privacy Act was signed into law by Governor Abbott, supported by Republicans and Democrats in this second special session. And we've got Senator Mays Middleton here, who led the effort in the Senate, and also Representative Angelia Orr, who led the effort in the House. And our good friend Valerie Swanson, who's worked on this issue for many years, will be joining us as well. This law has become necessary because for too long, government officials and other people like them have been allowing women and young ladies to be taken advantage of. They have been allowing men and boys into girls' bathrooms, showers, and locker rooms, knowing full well that if parents and those young ladies were aware that that was about to happen, that there would be outrage. We brought this issue out into the forefront, and with the courage of so many young women and ladies and families over the years, it's now clear not only does Texas have a statewide law like this, but so many other states as well. Texas Values has been so honored to lead the effort to protect women's privacy in their private spaces, to protect their safety and dignity. This law applies to all government buildings. It does not apply to private businesses. But government buildings means all K through 12 schools, all colleges and universities, and government buildings in areas like the ones that we're standing here in Houston in front of Houston City Hall. And the significance of being in Houston in front of City Hall is so important, because the attacks on safety and dignity of women, for many reasons and for leading up to that point, started here in 2014, when the mayor at the time, Anise Parker, pushed an ordinance onto the people that would have forced not only government buildings but private businesses to have men in the women's bathrooms, showers, and locker rooms. But many people like you watching said no. The voters pushed back 61-39 and said they wanted to protect the safety and dignity of women. So we had to move in the direction of passing a statewide law. But that vote was very clear. And we're aware that Anise Parker is back, and she's now wanting to represent you again at a higher level, and her values have not changed. We fully believe that she will not support a law like this, and she'll try to push these type of radical policies back on people in Harris County. I also wanted to share a quote with our Lieutenant Governor, who is a key leader to this issue. In 2017, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says, "I was the first elected official in the country to prioritize the passage of the Women's Privacy Act, called by some people the bathroom bill, to protect women and girls from entering women's bathrooms, locker rooms, and showers. The bill passed in the Senate, but unfortunately, it died in the House that session. I kept fighting, vowing to never bend the knee to the woke rage mob, because I knew that this was the right policy for Texas." Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick continues, "This past special session in September, the Women's Privacy Act finally passed with both the Senate and the House and was signed into law. And as of today, the Texas Women's Privacy Act is statewide law, protecting women and girls across the state." Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick continues, "I thank Jonathan Saenz and Texas Values for standing with me from the very beginning and for helping me pass this important legislation into law. It wouldn't have happened without the steadfast support of Texas Values." And I thank all of our supporters. Many of them are here today that have been a part of that effort. Riley Gaines, who is a Save Women's Sports leader and one of the most accomplished collegiate athletes, also had a man from Texas in her locker room. She's been a key champion for this issue. She wanted to share this quote from Riley Gaines. The Texas Women's Privacy Act is a decisive victory for women and girls. It affirms the basic truth that privacy, dignity, and safety matter. Riley Gaines goes on to say, "Texans made it clear that sex-specific spaces exist for a reason, and today the state took an important step to preserve those protections. Thank you to Texas Values, the legislature, and Governor Abbott. And we also want to express our thank you and appreciation again for the leadership of House Speaker Dustin Burrows, who was so significant to this victory. You'll see here we've got many young ladies and some much younger young ladies that are with us, the next generation. And some people are wanting to push back on this law. We're not going anywhere. Go to our website, protectwomensprivacytexas.com. We're going to make sure this law is fully enforced, and we've sent letters out to government agencies at the local and state level, making sure it's enforced. Now I want to introduce the Senate author and the champion for many years for this issue for the Texas Women's Privacy Act, Senator Mays Middleton.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. Well, today is a huge victory for women and children in Texas. This has been a priority of mine for many, many years. And look, this is a lesson in persistence and grit, because what this is about is protecting safety and privacy of women and children. And this is a victory for all the daughters and all the future daughters of our great state. And look, I was personally protested at the Texas Capitol over this. They had these big, ugly green signs with my face marked out with red X's, and they called me the bathroom bigot. Well, why did they do that? Because I don't want men in my little girl's restroom or locker room or shower. And with this law, what we have done is kick perverted men out of women's restrooms and locker rooms.
Yeah.
And it's really more than that. This is a spiritual battle as well. You know, I saw it at the Capitol. These are a bunch of men pretending to be women. And like Riley Gaines' story that Jonathan just told us about, you know, she was exposed forcibly to a man in her locker room. And you know what? We're not going to allow that in the great state of Texas. I will not bend, and Texas will not bend to the delusions of the radical left. And this is the strongest Women's Privacy Act in America. No longer can a man enter a woman's private space like a restroom, a locker room, a shower, a family violence shelter, or even a prison. And this is something very basic. These are basic biological truths. These are also basic biblical truths that we are fighting for here today. I could not have gotten it done without the men and women behind me here today. Texas Values, Representative Swanson, Representative Orr, Pastor Riggle, and so many others that have persisted in this fight for years. And this is part of my goal to make sure that Texas is the safest state in America to live and raise a family.
Thank you so much. And as I recalled earlier about the efforts of the former mayor Anise Parker, not only did she force an ordinance on the people of the city of Houston that would have forced men into businesses to allow men into women's bathrooms, showers, and locker rooms, private business, and on government property, she also issued a subpoena of the sermons of faith leaders, church leaders who dared speak out against this from the pulpit in the privacy of their own church. That intimidation effort did not work. But we understand she's looking to run for office again, and we don't want those kind of values in Houston and Harris County, the city where I was born and raised. But we know that that's something the voters need to be thinking about. I want to introduce the House author for the Texas Women's Privacy Act during this special session, Angelia Orr, to speak next. Thank you. Some more.
Thank you. I'm happy to be with you today as a mother and a grandmother and a Texas woman. I just want to say how much I appreciate Texas Values and their entire team for not giving up and to always being so helpful. I especially want to say a special thanks to Senator Middleton and Representative Swanson and their staff for never giving up and being entirely dedicated to this purpose. I am so pleased to be here today, and I thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Orr. For many years leading up to the passage of this law, there were efforts like the Save Women Sports Law for K through 12 and the Save Women Sports Law for at the collegiate level that were led by Representative Valerie Swanson. We know that that's a lot of times where the dignity, the safety of women is being violated. They're being told, like Brooke Slusser, who is a collegiate athlete from the state of Texas, like Shiloh Satterfield from the Central Texas area, and hundreds of other young ladies and families throughout the state of Texas, that privately and anonymously have contacted us because they're fearful about coming forward in the backlash that they would face. But for so many years, we know that it was happening in those bathroom showers and locker rooms around the sports issue. But we know there are other settings where that's taken place. And so Representative Valerie Swanson continued the fight on this issue for the privacy, dignity, and safety of women, and was so key to the passage of the Texas Women's Privacy Act. So please welcome Representative Valerie Swanson.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm State Representative Valerie Swanson, House District 150, right here in Harris County. And I've been working on this issue, protecting our girls and women, since 2017. And even before, when we were fighting with the ordinance that was trying to force restrooms to be open to men and expose our girls and women. In 2021, I was proud to carry the Texas the Save Girls Sports Act, and I just worked right alongside Texas Values to do that. We were able to stop the boys from being in our girls sports in junior high and high school, stop them from being in the locker room, stop them from cheating and taking the spots, the scholarships that they were due. In 2023, I came back, and with Senator Mays Middleton, we worked really hard, and we were able to pass the Save Women's Sports to extend those same privacy, security, and protections to our college girls sports. I've talked to so many girls, so many women who've been in locker rooms with males, we're talking intact males, naked and purposely having erections right in front of the girls to make them uncomfortable. Girls that were assigned and had to be in hotel rooms with grown men as college students. That's just wrong. And I was very proud to come back and with Senator Mays Middleton file the Texas Women's Privacy Act. And he and I worked on that, worked with Texas Values over and over, worked with the governor time after time to get it on the special session calls. And I am so pleased that we have finally passed this, and we're going to protect our girls and women in all the private spaces. So thank you for being here today. This is a great victory. Thank you, Texas Values.
Thank you, Representative Swanson. I see you brought a guest with you here. Who is this?
This is Ava.
This is Ava. And who's with you? The rainbow unicorn. Very sweet.
Does this law even include for 1,200 Milo ponies?
Well, it includes protecting young ladies like you. So we're so glad
she's already involved in several sports. So
that's
really
how important it is.
passed this.
The next generation needs to count on us for this type of leadership, and we need to continue to create an environment. I think that environment that Texas is creating and is prioritized like so many other states is going to lead to young ladies and women feeling safer in our community, feeling safer and protected when they're involved in collegiate and K through 12 sports. These will not be issues and I think we'll be attracting athletes to our state that see that they can count on people to actually stand with women on these issues. It's also significant that we're in front of Houston City Hall because one of the new leaders in the city of Houston came from this effort. He was here at the beginning in 2014 and many years before, making it clear that we could not have policies that disrespected and put at risk the dignity and safety of women in our community. And he now is a part of City Council, and we're so happy to have the leadership and the friendship of Reverend Willie Davis, Houston City Councilman, if you'll come forward.
Thank you, Jonathan. This is such a great day. I want to thank Texas Values for moving on this, and our Congress, our Senator Mays Middleton, as well as State Representative Swanson. This is a dream, certainly come true for all of us in the absence of our great leader of the Houston Area Pastor Council, Pastor Dave Welch, and of course Pastor Steve Regal, who's with us today. For many of all of us know, this was always about protecting our women. It was always about protecting our girls. So whether you live in Houston, Harris County, or the entire state of Texas, you deserve to be protected. And so this is a great day, and I'm happy that we finally got to this, and we certainly want to thank our governor and all of the legislatures who participated in making sure this happened, as well as Texas Values. Thank you.
Appreciate you, sir.
Appreciate you so much. Sure.
it's essential to mention the name of Dave Welch, Pastor Dave Welch, who was so key to this issue for many years, getting hundreds of thousands of people involved in the effort to protect the dignity, the safety, and the privacy of women, not only in Houston and Harris County, but across the state of Texas, and I'm sure beyond the borders of our state as well. He passed away earlier this year, did not get to see this law go into effect or get passed by our legislature, but he had everything to do with it. And I know he's smiling down on us today. Someone who had his sermon subpoenaed by the mayor of Houston and East Parker at the time over this issue is here with us today and continues to be one of the most important leaders to our community and our state, Pastor Steve Riggle.
Someone said, in a day like we're living in, the most uncommon thing there is common sense. And when I heard many years ago now that our mayor was proposing this ordinance, at first I just couldn't get my brain wrapped around that she actually thought that biological males should be allowed into the locker rooms, the change rooms in our community pools, in our schools, in even in private businesses that would be forced to accommodate this. But it was exactly what she intended. And so Pastor Willie Davis, Dave, hundreds of pastors came to this spot right here and rallied together and implored the mayor to not follow through with this. We met privately with the city council members and asking them to stand against this kind of thing. Then we faced them publicly in the city council meetings. And the mayor's response was to subpoena 5 of us, subpoena our sermons, 17 other categories, and attempt to intimidate the pastoral community in this city. The 5 of us immediately said, absolutely not. We won't give in to the dictate of the state in something like that. If the mayor wants our sermons, she can go on our website. She's welcome to listen to all of them, but we won't give them that way. And so that began a battle in the city here, a battle that became national across the nation just because of her actions. And the result of all of that was that we went through the process in the city, and the mayor and the city attorney over one weekend nullified all of our efforts. Ultimately, through a lawsuit, the state Supreme Court intervened twice to tell the mayor the citizens of Houston, Texas had a right to vote, which is all we had asked for. And as has been mentioned earlier, that vote was overwhelmingly in favor of repealing that ordinance, which that vote did. Many times, while we won that issue locally, sort of out of sight is out of mind, and it dies there. But I want to thank today, Jonathan, I want to thank you and Texas Values, because you never backed off.
Thank you.
And I want to thank our state representatives, all of you. Senator, thank you for being willing to take this fight all the way through. Today is a historic day because today finishes this battle that began right here in this city in 2014. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Yes, thank you.
There are hundreds, if not thousands, of young ladies, women, and families that have had to deal with this issue without the protection of a state law or local law. For many years, we get the emails, the phone calls, and the messages from families and young ladies that are afraid to come forward. They're afraid to report that government leaders or their coaches are not standing up for their dignity and rights. One of the ladies that we had the privilege to get to work with is Brooke Slusser. She is a female collegiate athlete, a volleyball player from the state of Texas. The way that she found out that there was a male player on her team and that she had been sharing a locker room and at times a hotel room for almost 2 years was she went into the bathroom and she stumbled across the backpack of this male athlete who was on the women's team, and she stumbled across something called a tuck kit. These are devices and things that men are deliberately doing to disguise their anatomy and their appearance. They are engaging in fraud to be in a collegiate team or an athletic situation, and at the same time setting themselves up to where they can be in the locker room and they can be on those overnight trips in hotel rooms with young ladies. What Brooke Slusser had to go through was absolutely tragic, but she did not allow that to destroy her. We came alongside her, and so did other people like our friends at Alliance Defending Freedom, like so many great groups, Concerned Women for America of Texas, many others, our good friends at the different pastor councils that have stood with these women, faced scrutiny, and now Brooke Slusser is taking her message forward to so many people. She was inspired by Riley Gaines, and before that, young ladies like Shiloh Satterfield. Shiloh and her father found out that there was a boy in her bathroom in elementary school when his daughter came home and told her. The school never communicated ahead of time that this was something that a student could be surprised by. They sent out an email in Dripping Springs ISD because there was some kind of contaminated piece of lettuce that the students might come across. But when the boy was going to go into the bathroom, the locker room, they knew full well about it, and they refused to tell the parents. Those days are over. And I guarantee you, not only Texas Values, our Attorney General, our Lieutenant Governor, our Governor, all of our state leaders are fully prepared to enforce this law to the full extent. Because of two things. We know the law is a teacher. What we say the law is says something about our society and to our people, and we know that government belongs to those who show up. We will continue to show up to this fight. This issue, as I mentioned, is played out in a lot of public schools, and that's why I'm so glad that we have a public school leader, Tiffany Nelson, who is a member of the Conroe ISD School Board, is here with us today. Tiffany?
Thank you, Jonathan. It's an honor to be here today with you to celebrate this momentous day, the Texas Women's Privacy Act. This is something that I have stood for and fought since elected in 2022 when the Biden administration had the rewrite that included the gender identity issues. It's something that I believe in as a mother of 6 with 4 that are daughters. We need to stand to protect our children and really make space for our education in Texas to really make room for the basics. We need to remove all of the things that are weighing down our classrooms and students from succeeding in education and remove all of the barriers like these issues so that our students can focus on the basics. It's an honor and a privilege today to stand before you as a trustee of a local school board, a candidate for the State Board of Education, District 6, and a mom of 6. God bless you and God bless Texas.
One of our local leaders, thank you, Tiffany, who could not be here today, Linda Dewhurst, was one of our strongest and major local Houston area and Harris County allies. She spoke at the legislative hearings at the state capitol in 2017. She was part of a video that we released. And so I know she couldn't be here today, but we're so thankful for Linda Dewhurst's leadership and continued support of this issue and representing her community and the great women and young ladies of Texas so well. And one last a quote that I wanted to share, as I mentioned, from a leader, a Texas collegiate female athlete who was not able to be here with us today, but was so key to help us get this issue across the finish line. Brooke Slusser competed at the highest level in high school and collegiate level in volleyball. She wanted to share this quote from Brooke Slusser. "I'm a former Texas college athlete, and I was forced to have a male change in my locker room and share a hotel room with me on trips without my knowledge or approval." Brooke Slusser goes on to say, "This male athlete deliberately disguised his male appearance and anatomy, but some school employees knew that he was a male on our women's team, but they hid that from me." Brooke Slusser, the Texas collegiate female athlete, goes on to say, "I am proud of Texas for taking a stand against these issues and with this new women's privacy law. Thank you, Brooke Slusser. We know you're going to continue to be so key. There are numerous organizations across the state of Texas and across the country that have been key to this fight. We know there's a lot of stories that are already out there. People are looking into this issue as it goes into effect. We've got a great website set up where you can learn about the law. You can learn about all of these young ladies and their families that were impacted, but that had the courage to come forward. And that is by itself making sure that these things stop happening. ProtectWomen'sPrivacyTexas.com is the website where you can get all the information about this law, how it works. If people are not following it and you want to help us enforce it, you can report those violations and concerns to us, also to the Texas Attorney General's office, where we together we fully intend to continue to work on enforcing this law and implementing it, because the dignity, safety, and privacy of young women and girls throughout the state of Texas are depending on it. So thank you all very much for being here today. Bless.